it's the week of our 10 years anniversary. The first time we did tube light painting was 10 years ago. And I've been thinking for a while about reprocessing that first image that we have, that big long ribbon around you. Things that I would never do again.
You say that now. Maybe you will again at some point.
Maybe.
Never say never.
Maybe. It's a bit risky because it's just too long and you have two faces on this one. Long exposure is a bitch. Always get two faces when you paint for too long, especially during the blue hour or when there's a second source of light. But that's not my point. I want to reopen the raw file and see where I can bring it 10 years later. And I've been quite surprised because things have improved a lot on the post-processing side. First, the denoiser is so much better. Wow, it makes a huge difference because I can get more details while keeping a very smooth background. Also the cleanup. So as I was running behind you on this one, my legs are a bit visible like ghosts. And I had to clone out a tiny bit of my legs back in the days, but it was very painful with the clone tool. But now with the newest tools, the removal, it's so much easier. So I remove a bit of my legs, I remove a few of the footprints. And the third thing is the expansion. So I love to create a vertical version of my shots for cell phones, which is weird. I'm sure like in 10 years you're gonna laugh about the fact that some pictures are horizontal, some are vertical. It's all gonna be circles in 10 years, okay? Are we going to bet on that? Everything circle, your phone, your camera sensor, everything circles. Wow, that's the future. The future is circle. The future is circular.
You said also your monitor is better now?
Yeah, so for the post-processing part, the Photoshop is much better, but also my equipment is better.
Yeah.
My monitor is so good now that I see small details I couldn't see on my small laptop back in 2015. But also my eyes are better. My eyes have been fixed. I see the small details. But was it the first picture? Yes and no, because we found the tubes on that day and we went shooting with it right away. But we have this picture that dates from 2 months prior to our first tube light paintings.
That was a handmade tool.
Yeah,
Like something that
I wrote.
would rule. Yeah.
Yeah, so the same way we're teaching how to make your own DIY rolled tubes. This is the same. This is what I was doing before finding out about these long 4 feet light painting tubes. Well, they are not light painting tubes. They were not. Now they are, but
They didn't know they were, but they were.
yeah, these tubes didn't know they were light painting tubes. Now it's all they think about. Yeah, but it's interesting to look back at this picture, which feels like our current work, but using a homemade small rolled tube.
Yeah.
Coming back to the beach, so that long ribbon. I said that it's our first tube light painting picture, but it's not exactly. It's the only one I took from our first night, which lasted just for a few minutes. But the real first one is actually a circle, a very ugly one. So that was a circle, but as you were not wearing a dress, my feet are visible, my circle looked very bad. So the dress that we added just...
The next day, actually.
Yeah, you're right. The next day we added a dress because we saw that.
We talked about it right away. And I was like,
I forgot about that.
That doesn't work. So I had a skirt, I think, for the next day.
Yeah, which helps a lot to make the circle look like a circle and to have my feet disappear. So that was our first and second session in San Francisco. And this ribbon picture is cool because it's from our first night, but it's not part of my top 10, top 20, top 100. It's just cool, but I'm not a big fan of this one. Like the composition is weird with the way I didn't wrap your arm correctly. So I keep saying when people are asking what shape am I doing, I'm looking at what you're doing and then I adjust my shape to fit in your pose. But that's not the case on this one. It's really off. Okay, I should have made something more in line with your pose, and I didn't. So it's not a part of my favorite pictures. But this one from Mont-Tremblant is actually from our third session. So just 10 days after coming back home, eager to go do something else with these golden nuggets that we had in our hands. And so we went to the beach and this one happened without thinking too much. And that was the theme back then. I wasn't really thinking about, I don't know, well, maybe it's just too far away and I don't remember, but it feels like I was not planning very much about the composition or what I was doing. I just put you dead center in the framing and I did that shape. And it worked perfectly in that situation. I think I've been lucky with the highlights on the water because I didn't have any caps on my tube. The color is perfect, even if it's just a clear tube with no modification. I feel like I've been lucky on this one. And this is part of my top 20 probably.
Yeah, and we were lucky as well that it was a cloudy evening, because at the same location, if it would have been clear sky, we probably would have stopped.
Yeah.
It would have been ugly.
Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was a lot to think about. Like, a lot of new things, a lot to consider. So no wonder you were not thinking so much about composition, because Blue Hour goes so fast. So, and we were discovering it all, keeping in mind you had a lot of experience with light painting indoors, but it was still a lot of new elements to manage. So yeah, I think there was luck involved for sure.
There was luck involved for sure. And we're going to end on this one that I found this morning. I was looking for something else and I saw this one. That's a studio shot that we did with a milky white tube, but that's the only one I have that is made with a machine. So I didn't paint this one. I put the tube on the machine and that's why it looks so perfect. So yeah.
Can I see? Ah. Oh wow. It's true that it's very symmetrical, which doesn't feel human.
It is a robot.
Well, are you thinking about retiring? Are you thinking about carrying a machine so you can stay behind the camera? Is that the next step for the next 10 years?
That would be so boring. No. No, I want to be with you. I want to paint by hand every frame with you. That's my purpose in life.
So, is there anything else you saw or that came to your mind as you were re-editing this old picture?
Mostly that technology has changed. Also, the camera are much better nowadays. And one thing that I'm still biting everything I can bite is that the fact that I didn't film on that night. Why? I knew how to film. This is something we were doing in other occasions together, but I didn't film at all for our first light painting. I had two cameras. I was taking pictures on both.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I wonder, because it would be so good to have footage of that first night, but at the same time I can understand it was probably overwhelming. If we go back, doing that, it was very short. We were probably too late. I think we started too late because we didn't know. I don't know, maybe not. But anyway, like it lasted only a few minutes, and I don't think we were ready for that.
Are we now?
Depends.
Il nous fait du cinéma. Oh, on a fait un clin d'œil.